The following video has been brought to you by RYN Studios. Release your nerd. Hello everyone, my name is the King of Clubs, and welcome to another episode of Listed. I want to apologize first off for this being a late video. I've had some stuff going on in my personal life that's been keeping me from doing videos yesterday. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. We're going to focus on this countdown here. This countdown is my top 10 picks for the favorite modern era wrestlers. Now I'm choosing the term modern era. It refers to anything that happened post-Attitude Era in pro wrestling. So anyone that's been around since, let's say, 2002 and then afterwards. Also referring to a lot of the new wrestlers that are coming in from NXT or are in NXT right now, moving on to the next level of being in the main shows. Let's go ahead and start off the countdown here with number 10. Number 10 would be the Usos. The Usos are the sons of Rikishi, who is now a Hall of Famer in WWE. They're always fun to watch. They're very energetic. They've been tag team champions in WWE, so they're already very successful. They're generally goofy guys. That's what I like about them, is that they're not like stage goofy or theatrical goofy. They're just naturally goofy guys, and I think that's really cool that they can bring that out in their personalities on stage. Too many people, especially younger wrestlers, are stuck with the gimmick, and the gimmick kind of drags them down, in my opinion. So I always like it when the wrestler gets to be more of themselves. When you get to put more of yourself into your character, then it's a lot more fun. The fans react a lot better, in my opinion, and it's just overall a better experience. If you're busy trying to play to a gimmick that's just not working, then it doesn't work. Then you have characters like The Undertaker, who that's all he is. I mean, that he has his own personal life outside of WWE that is totally separate, but when he's in WWE, he is The Undertaker, and that's all he is. So that's one case a gimmick would actually be a good thing. But for most of the young people, I don't think that gimmicks work as well. I think it's best to know who you are and put yourself into it. That's just my opinion on that. So anyway, number 10 is the Usos, and they are a lot of fun to watch because, like I said, they get to be themselves. Alright, moving on to number 9 is Charlotte. I believe she's actually the only diva on this list, and I don't really like using the term diva because I don't like what women's wrestling has become, in the sense that it's pretty much a joke for the most part. I mean, they're trying to make it into a strong, independent woman type of field, and I get that. That's why they create Total Divas, but it still comes off as very hokey, very much a joke. It lost a lot of its flair. No pun intended. But Charlotte is bringing back a very natural feel to the women's division with NXT, and then moving on to the main shows. I believe she's actually on Raw and SmackDown now more regularly. I haven't been watching lately. But Charlotte is the daughter of Ric Flair, Hall of Famer, legendary wrestler, and she is a beast. She is really well built. Like she's got muscles, as the King would say. She's got muscles in places where most people don't have places. She is actually really entertaining to watch because of the fact that she doesn't mess around. She is very no-nonsense, serious, actual women's wrestler, and that is such a refreshing thing to see. It's not hokey, it's not overly sexualized, it's just straight up what it is. And I actually like that. Moving on in the countdown to number 8. Number 8 is Sheamus. I've been a fan of Sheamus for a long time. It has something to do with being Irish and having red hair. That's all well and good. But I just like the fact that his whole concept has always been the same. He loves to fight. He's not a coward. He doesn't run from a fight. He loves to fight. That was his whole thing. Whether he's a good guy or a bad guy, he just loves to beat people up. And I know right now he's getting mixed reviews with his new look. I haven't seen him in action, but I've heard a lot of people's reviews. Apparently, during a lot of the shows, people are starting to chant things like "You look stupid" and stuff like that because they don't like his new mohawk. I thought it looked kind of neat. I thought it was a unique change of appearance, which is good. I think people need to change up their way they look every once in a while. So yeah, I like Sheamus because he's been just this genuine, I'm here because I love to fight, I love to beat the crap out of people. And that's kind of his whole thing. It's always been his thing, and I've loved that. Moving on to number 7 is the Ascension. The Ascension is a young tag team that's been pulled up from NXT into the main show, and I'm very eager to start watching Raw and SmackDown more closely to see how they're used, because in NXT they were the longest reigning tag champions for for quite some time. In fact, I think they still have that record right now. They remind me of a very young version of the Powers of Pain or of the Faces of Fear. Two really strong looking guys, but they're also really athletic because of their young age. So I'm very eager to see what they do with them. I'm not a huge fan of the eye makeup that they have them wearing, or I don't know if they still even use that, but they had the whole eye whatever thing that they had going on. I don't care much for that myself, but I know that you have to make a lot of changes when you come from the minors to the big shows. Moving on now to number 6. Number 6 is CM Punk. Now I realize that he's not really a wrestler anymore. He left WWE, had kind of a bad turn of events that things just did not work out well at all. But I've always liked CM Punk. I liked him, good guy or bad guy. When he's a bad guy, he's actually a lot of fun to watch just because of the way he would throw his little tantrums and get mad at stuff. And it was always, to me, just comical. He was a lot of fun to watch as a good guy, too, because he was always sarcastic, always liked to kind of make fun of people. So he was always entertaining to watch. I was sad that he had to leave the way he did, but I understand why he did it. He was not in good health at all, and that was just a bad situation for him to be in, so I don't blame him at all for what he did. I just wish that things didn't have to go that way, as I'm sure this is the case with most people. I'm sure a lot of people wish that things did not go that way at all. But what's happened has happened, and so I'm glad that he got out. Alright, moving on to number 5 is Randy Orton. Randy Orton is a third-generation wrestler, son of Cowboy Bob Orton, and the grandson of... honestly, I can't remember his grandfather's name. I'm sorry. But I know that his dad and his grandfather were both wrestlers. I'm familiar with Bob Orton because he was closely tied to Roddy Piper for a long time. But Randy Orton, he's a unique character. I like him a lot, and it's not just because we're both from Missouri, but I like him. I like him when he's in badass mode, because there's two sides to Randy Orton's personality, and both of them can be seen when he's a heel. He plays the heel really well. He plays a good guy fairly well too, but typically when he's a good guy, he's still just he's in badass mode where he doesn't care that he's considered a good guy. He's just out there just beating people up and trying to become champion. And that's kind of always his thing. He's always trying to be the champion, and I don't fault him for that at all. There's the popularity of the whole RKO out of nowhere is just ridiculous. I love a lot of the montage videos that people have put up from that. It's very clever. It makes a lot of sense. And then there's other montage videos that feature other wrestlers with their finishers, but he has developed that RKO so well. I mean, it is such a versatile and easy move to do from anywhere, and that's why it's so popular. Admittedly, all it really is just a modified version of the Diamond Cutter, if even that, because Diamond Dallas Page was really the originator of that move. But I like what Randy Orton does with it. I like the fact that he continues that move on today. I love him as a badass. I do not like him as a crybaby, because the other drawback is that he can go from being the badass heel to being a heel who just cries and complains and whines all the time, and that part gets annoying. But him as a badass, definitely in my top 10. Moving on to number 4 is Daniel Bryan. Now, I've recently heard that Daniel Bryan might be having to take some time off again due to his neck. Apparently, when he injured his neck last year, he didn't receive surgery for it. Instead, he went with an alternative means, like acupuncture and some other alternate forms of treatment. And he was feeling better, but I guess after Mania and the past few weeks, he's just not been feeling it as good. And I guess they've been putting him like in 6-man tag matches and matches where he doesn't have to compete as heavily. I guess he's just having a lot of problems with it. And so he may be taking some more time off. I don't know if it's permanent or if it's just going to be that he actually has to have surgery now. But he's always been someone I've liked. I liked him as a bad guy just because he's so much fun to watch when he starts like arguing with the audience. When the whole Yes thing took off, he was actually a bad guy, and people were doing it to make fun of him. And so he would get up in people's faces and yell at them, yell no. So it started the whole no chant thing for a while. And now he's a good guy again, and people love him. It's ridiculous how popular he's gotten. And that's why I'm hoping that whatever he chooses to do, I hope that it's something that allows him to wrestle in the future. But ultimately, as I've heard other people say, it's more about his permanent health. I would rather him, if he had to retire, I'd rather him do what Edge did and retire at a young age and be able to enjoy life and be able to do what he wants to do with life, as opposed to him wrestling to a point of him actually getting seriously hurt and possibly immobilized. Neck injuries are nothing to mess around with, especially not in something like pro wrestling where so many things can go wrong. So I really hope that he's able to keep doing it. But if he has to retire, I'm more than willing to understand. I'll be bummed out by it, but I will be very understanding of it. But yeah, he's my number 4 pick because he's just so entertaining. His appearance is amusing to me because he's got the whole, what people refer to as the goat face, because he's got that long beard and he's got his long hair. He fit in really well appearance-wise with the Wyatt family because they're all scraggly looking, and so he actually looked like he belonged as part of that group for a while. But now he's just, for some reason, I've always been entertained by him, even if it's just the subtle things like him arguing with Kane back when they were a tag team, to just him doing all his normal stuff on his own. He's always entertained me, so he's an easy number 4. Alright, moving on to number 3 is another tag team from NXT. This one is Enzo and Cass. Enzo Amore and Cass are actually probably my favorite tag team on NXT, and I really would like to see them get pushed to the main show. I just don't know if or when that will actually happen. Enzo and Cass are so entertaining with their personalities, but the only thing is, Enzo's not really much of an actual wrestler. In fact, if you watch the matches, the majority of the actual moves are done by Big Cass, by Colin Cassidy. And I'll kind of give you guys a spoiler. Part of the reason for that is that Enzo was not a wrestler by trade. He was actually a comedian whenever he was discovered by WWE producers. But his personality is so infectious and so entertaining that they wanted to try to make this work. Now, Colin Cassidy, on the other hand, Big Cass, he is a wrestler. He has trained for years and has been doing this for a long time. And he's still really young, though. I mean, he's not like he's not like Orton's age or anything like that. I'm not saying that Orton's old by any means, but he is still fairly young. He's got a lot of time left on his career. But basically, they grabbed Enzo and they said, "Hey, we'd really like you to become a wrestler. We've paired you up with this big guy, and he'll kind of watch your back, make sure you don't actually get hurt." But if you notice, most of the actual moves are done more so by Big Cass. Enzo, he's getting there. It's a gradual process. But I'm noticing that he takes a lot of time away. Them as a tag team, they take a lot of time away from the ring to where they're not as active. Like for a while, they were doing Carmella's introductions only, and that was it. Like they wouldn't even do much to their normal gimmick. But Enzo and Cass are so entertaining just with their personalities alone. Puts them in the top 3. That's how entertaining I think they are. I think when Enzo gets to the skill of performing more wrestling wise, they'll be able to get pushed to the main show, and I think that the main show will just love them. But that's just my opinion on that. They're a lot of fun to watch. I would highly recommend, if you haven't watched NXT, to check that out. That's actually something I watch more than Raw and SmackDown. I watch NXT a lot because I'm always interested in seeing what the next generation brings. So that's why I have a lot of younger people on this list, because the next generation is very impressive to me. Alright, moving on to number 2. Kind of segueing forward, the top 2 spots are both from NXT as well. One of them is Finn Balor, who is actually from Ireland. He's very unique. He's got quite the persona. When he's doing just the regular shows of NXT, he's just Finn Balor, and he's just himself. He's got some entertaining moves. He's got this double foot stomp, which is just, it's so epic. He's taking the concept that the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan came up with the double foot stomp and making it just awesome. With Kevin Sullivan being that he was a short, squatty guy, it wasn't as epic. It was just more like a cruel means of torture. But with Finn Balor, he makes it into an actual legitimate finishing move, and it's so cool to watch. He teamed up with Hideo Itami for a while there, and as partners, they had some really cool tag team matchups together. They both do what I refer to as a hang time drop kick. It's where you have an opponent that's either seated in the corner or hanging upside down in a corner, and basically they'll do a running drop kick down to their head area, and the hang time they get when they're just kind of hanging, when they're just kind of like floating through the air, getting ready to deliver the drop kick, is just amazing, because it's like you're anticipating for it to happen, and it's almost happening in slow motion how well they do it. Finn Balor is just really great to watch. The cool thing about him, though, is that when they have the special events every couple months, called Takeover for NXT, he has this persona that he puts on. He has his body paint design to where he paints his body like a demon, where he paints the mouth of it around his throat and over like front of his face, to where when he moves his head upward, it actually opens the mouth of this creature. And it's just really cool looking. The lighting is amazing for that they do. And the first time he did it, it was actually him and Hideo against the Ascension, and their faces were just priceless, because they just had this complete look of confusion, because no one in NXT had ever seen that before. Now, number 1 pick, again from NXT, like I said, I'm really interested in the future, is Sami Zayn, which I think Sami Zayn is getting ready to be pushed to the main show. That's typically what they do. If someone wins the world title, they'll have them hold it for a while, or they'll have them in the world title picture for a while, and then eventually they'll move them on. Same with the tag titles. That's what happened with the Ascension. They had their tag titles for a long time, and now they got bumped up to the main show. I would love to see Sami Zayn on the main show. He is really talented. He's just a lot of fun to watch, and he's got this infectious energy about him. He's kind of like Daniel Bryan with his energy and his persona. The people have started chanting, kind of singing along with his theme song, and it's so entertaining to watch him come out, because he just looks like he's having the time of his life out there. Every time he comes to the ring, he always seems so happy and so energetic. So he's a lot of fun to watch. I really hope that they get to do some great things with him in the future. I would love to see him on the main show. He actually made an appearance a couple times as they're promoting NXT more. They featured a handful of wrestlers on the main show, and so it was good to see him on there. I'd love to see him on there some more. He actually, seeing that match on there actually got me into wanting to watch more of NXT, because at the time I had only seen like an episode here or there. Alright, so that's the countdown. Those are who I picked for the modern era wrestlers. Let me know what you guys think in the section below. This video ran a little bit longer than usual. These top 10 lists are getting a little bit longer, mainly because I have a lot more information regarding wrestling. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. Be sure to share this with your friends and family. Like I said, leave comments below as to who your favorite wrestlers are from post-Attitude or Modern Era. If you're a big NXT fan, be sure to leave a comment supporting NXT in the section below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos. I'm going to try to pre-record a lot of stuff today. I know I say that a lot, but I'm really trying to get a system set up to where I can pre-record for a couple days and then focus on my personal life on the rest of the week. As it stands right now, I don't have a whole lot of time in between YouTube and work, so I'm trying to juggle things a little bit better. So yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Check me out on social media as well. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Snapchat. I have links for all that in the description below. Hopefully I'll have a vlog for you guys later today. I know I'm going to try to get the next couple of days videos done today, so I may or may not have the vlog ready, but we'll see. But hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you guys like this video, and hopefully everything keeps going as smoothly as it has now. Thanks guys, have a nice day.